start. Good morning. This is the very first meeting of the Ad Hoc Harwich Port Parking Committee. I'm Charlene Greenhouse, the town planner. I did talk to a couple people and they asked me to just start the ball rolling because we haven't even set officers yet. This meeting is being recorded and will be played at a future time on Channel 18. If there is anybody else in the room who is taping this meeting or recording it, they need to let us, the committee, know now. Hearing no one. Probably the best thing to do first is just to do introductions to let the folks out there know who we all are. I will note that we are still, this committee is still needing 2 more members, a business member and I believe a resident member.
Correct.
So if there's anybody out there who's interested in serving, let us know. That being said, do you want to start, Mike?
Sure, I'm Mike Ulrich, Cape Cod Associates Real Estate.
Good morning, John Mahan.
All. Morning.
And we are being taped.
Excellent.
Cindy Williams, Harwich Chamber Executive Director.
Again, I'm Charlene Greenhouse, the town planner.
Al Donahue, resident.
So she was a resident,
Yes, John, you are a resident representative. And we do need to hold election for officers, so it would be for the chair, the vice chair, and the clerk, who also serves as the recording secretary. So are there any nominations for chair? It'll be a long meeting unless somebody makes it.
I'll nominate Mr. Mahan.
I'm chair of one already. Too much on my plate, I apologize.
Okay. Any other
I'll
nominations?
nominate Mr. Donahue.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Al.
Is there a second to that nomination?
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? I just need to get John, Mike. Hearing no others, all in favor of Al as chair?
Aye.
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 Nay. Okay, aye. Yes.
Congratulations.
Okay. So, do you want to take over the duty, or do you want me to keep going and you
Why
can
don't
do
you
it the
keep
next
on
one?
going and I'll do the next one.
Okay, perfect.
We'll get
So,
kind of a dry
okay,
run
and you
through
and I
this.
can talk, because I'll serve as
Sure.
staff for this as well as being on the committee. So nominations for a vice chair.
John Mahan.
Is there a
Second.
second? Are there any other nominations? We do need a second for the nomination.
I thought you did.
Cindy.
Oh, you
Second.
seconded?
Yeah.
Oh, geez,
Sit
I'm
right next
sorry.
to you. Second.
Sorry. Oh, my goodness. Any other nominations? Hearing no others, all in favor of John as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then as clerk, who also serves as recording secretary. Any nominations? And God, please don't make it me, because. All right, make it
This
me.
is the biggest-
I'll do it.
this
I'll
is-
do it if you want me to do it. But somebody needs to nominate me.
I nominate Charlene.
Yeah,
Second.
jeez.
Sure you did.
Uh-huh.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, now he becomes, okay. All right. So that is done. Did everybody get a charge of the committee
Yes.
in, when they received their packets?
You have an extra
Directed to
minute,
share.
We'll share.
Yeah, I know I've got one here somewhere. Yeah, can I borrow that? I know I've got it someplace. So, I'll just read it. The committee shall explore the most impacted areas of Harwich Port. When studying the scope of the problem, the committee shall give due consideration to stress factors, including seasonal variations in parking patterns, changes to parking patterns in the daytime versus the night, and event-driven parking. In the course of considering recommendations, the committee shall explore alternate parking, municipal parking, availability throughout all the villages of Harwich, efficient short-term movement of people via vans, trolleys, or bus accommodations, bicycling and/or walking from remote parking sites, and seasonal parking time limits and/or fees. As part of the problem is caused by increasing popularity of Harwich Port as a resort and its vibrant dining and shopping options, due consideration must be given to solutions which will not impede such activities, but rather make them integrate better into daily life. The committee shall meet in sufficient interval to submit a report no later than May 15th, 2019. So that's not that far away, folks. And periodic status reports shall be made to the Board of Selectmen at no less than 60 days intervals. So this being the first meeting, within 60 days, a report would need to be made to the Board of Selectmen. Just doing my secretarial duties, making sure. Again, this is more of an organizational meeting, but we do need to briefly discuss what's next, how do we want to proceed, and what future meeting dates and times you want to do. It is a quick turnaround time. There's a lot involved in that charge. I've actually already done, and I did this quite a while ago, and I have copies for everybody here, is I did look at, and this will help us in moving forward on the what's next. 2, 3. The way the zoning bylaw is written, anybody within 300 feet can use municipal parking towards their parking requirements. So I did look at all the businesses within a 300-foot radius of the front parking area, which I'm gonna call the chamber, and then the back parking area, which is the town, because there are 2 distinct parcels there. So I went through, and this is a list of those businesses that are within that area, and it indicates if they're taking advantage of the public parcels or not. I don't want to get into that, into this list today, but at least you have that as a reference. And because I am the town planner and also now the recording secretary, I can do research for this group, or assist with research on any information that is being looked for. So I'm happy to do that, as time allows and everything else. So what is the thought of the members and how we want to move forward?
Well, I think that it's my overall feeling that it's kind of an easy solution, given what we, the limited properties that we have and the limited availability to expand.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we can work with the business owners and get their employees to park somewhere like Sisson Road Middle School or something like that, and work some kind of a shuttle back and forth. Just being on the corner of Cross Street and 28, I have quite a few employees that I would keep reminding, sometimes on a daily basis in the summertime, to please not park and use up our parking spaces for the benefit of their own business that they're in. So I think that would alleviate a lot of problems. So, you know, how many employees park in the municipal lot?
Well, that, and I've watched that on a regular basis, along with, you know, the beach parking, but the big I don't want to call them offenders, because that's not what it is, but the big people that do take the parking are the employees. And I've had a conversation already with one of our local transportation companies, and they are interested in doing that exact thing.
Right, so I think we can work
So-
with the business owners, get them to come on board, and, you know, figure out what their peak hours and when the shuttle needs to go and so forth, and get them to commit to their employees to make sure that they park there, not filling up the municipal lot in side streets and so forth. I think that on a regular basis for parking, certainly events are gonna be a different situation, but on a
And-
regular basis in the summertime, I think if they.
That's going to be
all
a
their
huge
employees,
piece right there that takes cars out of
a
that
of
lot.
weight off of that, the lot and
Right.
side streets
Yeah.
and other businesses sneaking into other lots. Not the business that they're working in, you know.
Do we have any idea as to how many people we're talking about that would have motor vehicles that are employees that could be moved
I'd
out?
say anywhere between 30 and 40.
And do we have any idea at this stage, how many parking spaces do we actually need given a stroll evening? Because as we all know, it all started with regarding the neighbors And they're concerned about the parking, I think it was over near Miles Street in that vicinity.
Yep.
And also Braddock, I think, was included in that.
Braddock was?
I know
Yeah,
Pleasant
I
and
had-
Miles.
I had actually heard some feedback some time ago regarding Braddock Street. The concern is some of the property owners over there felt as though people were parking their cars and then walking down to Bank Street Beach.
That should be a
Different.
pretty easy, that's an
Yeah.
it's a different thing than the parking there, but it should be an easy fix, is it not posted?
Well, they're parking the cars and also walking into downtown, the same people who know their routine.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this summer too, we had a couple of the larger parking lots where other businesses have put up now no parking unless you're doing business. So, you know, when it comes to the event type of things, we can actually even do Bank Street Beach. So like on a Wednesday night, have the shuttle, that be one of the loops, Bank Street Beach. So we have parking down there. So then that'll pull away from, you know, anything on Pleasant, because, you know, that was one of the big things, you know, I mentioned this at one of the meetings. I mean, I get in at 7 a.m. and I usually will take a quick little walk just to get going, and it's awful to see people parking on those beautiful lawns, you know? So I think it's important that we find another location for that, especially, you know, the popularity of the stroll, they get down at 4 o'clock, go for dinner, shop, whatever, and then stay until 9 o'clock. But yeah, we have other locations. We can do, you know, the Harbor Master parking lot, the old Harbor Master parking lot, Bank Street on Wednesday nights. That'll pull away from that happening, I think.
I think a lot of that parking too was kind of alleviated on Pleasant Street because they did, police would post.
Yes,
no
on one
parking
side,
sign.
right.
And that, you know, if you go down there towards the end of the season, there was not very many people parking there. They certainly would park across street and fill in other areas, but people seem to find places to park. I didn't see that many people on Pleasant Street after those, you know,
Right.
like again, in the last 2-3 weeks or whatever
Right.
it was. And I think the other thing too is that, you know, part of that is a little bit of compromise from people. I mean, you don't want people parking on somebody's lawn and blocking
No.
the driveway and all the rest of it, which
Right.
that's, you know, you have to call somebody and have it towed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that is, that's where you live, right? I mean, you're living in downtown Howardsport, and in the summertime, there are gonna be a weekly event,
Right.
and that's part of the fun, that's part of the excitement, that's part of what brings people to Howardsport, that's the reason people wanna be there.
Right.
So some of that is a little bit of give and take, you know, I mean, you wanna do the best you can to alleviate that, and make sure that people don't abuse parking or parking across people's lawns or blocking the streets so, you know, vehicles can't get through. But at the same time, you have to have a little bit of balance between that and say, okay, well, I do live here and this is part of the charm and part of the activity and the fun of being in here is the events, the activity, you know?
I know this last summer, when the parking really kind of came to a head, we were receiving phone calls saying, well, I'm renting this house over on such and such road, and they told me I'm supposed to park in the town parking lot because there's only one parking space, and it's like, well, you can't park there overnight.
Right.
No, well, but that's where I was told to park, and it's like, well, you can't do that overnight, there is no
I
parking
mean, there were
overnight
campers
there.
even in the, I mean, the extended parking over by the bank that, I mean, I had to go up to one of the campers one morning and said to them, is this your vehicle? They're like, yes. I said, well, just so you know, you can't park here overnight. Certainly you could use exit 11, there's
Parking, right?
town parking. You can
Right.
do that overnight. The other thing too is sometimes some of our social events that happen throughout town, post-wedding parties or whatever, are telling their guests to park in that parking lot and they take a shuttle to another event.
Oh, wow.
That's something else, and that I caught twice, and I've actually had conversations with the people that handle that.
Oh, I
And
remember that, right.
they're now gonna use, again, exit, you know, 11, or 10, I keep
Right.
saying
Mhm.
11. So that, if you take that piece out, because these are the things that not everyone sees, that,
On a regular basis too.
yeah,
Right.
that I've noticed on a regular basis, especially now watching it more so. But those are the things that are actually, if we start to take those pieces out and get the word out that there are other locations, if you're going to have to park overnight because you're visiting someone or staying somewhere, exit 10 is your location, you
Right.
know, and then just have whoever you're staying with or whatever pick you up at exit 10.
Right.
And, you know, there are things to do. Because, you know, the summer before, yes, there were some busy nights, but this really came, I mean, we've grown. Everyone loves the local restaurants, the shops. You know, we've got some new things happening right now over the winter that are gonna, you know, gonna be great for the town.
Right.
So we're doing this at the right time, but also it's gonna be now getting the word out there that, okay, if you do wanna come to Harwich and you need to park somewhere, these are your, and we can have it on the town website, we can have it on the chamber website, you know, there are things, it's all positive for everybody, it's not made to make anyone, you know, feel worried about.
Yeah, and I think the priority for our next meeting should be, and let's all keep in mind, this beats the alternative. You know, it beats us sitting here saying, how do we fill these businesses, how do we get people downtown?
Right.
And we have this problem because it's popular, people wanna come here, so that's a good thing.
Which 5 or
Great
6
thing.
years ago, we would have had that
Exactly,
problem.
Right.
exactly,
Yeah, we
so
did have that problem.
we have to try to look at this to keep everybody happy, but
Right.
understand it is a downtown community and it's thriving. So I think next meeting, we should prioritize and get, maybe everybody sends Al a list of what they see as priorities before the next meeting. Is it street parking? Is it there's no room at the chamber? And some solutions, you know, because I've heard 5 different things said right here about where the issues are. The first thing that comes to mind, doing a shuttle, and did you mean from Bank Street Beach for the employees? Because if you do, that's not gonna work, because that beach
No.
parking lot is full
Right,
well after those people report for work.
Not for the daytime, I think, or for the I think Bank Street Beach would be like on a Wednesday night kind of thing. That would be like a satellite for the overflow for Wednesday nights. No, for employees, I think, and I've looked at how many, you know, there was a local wedding used the old Harbor Master
Mhm.
workout shop. We can use that for, you know,
Yeah.
the daytime and run it 9 until 11:30, you know, something like that, you know, at PM
Yeah.
on the 11:30
I
time.
misunderstood.
Because you've got, yeah,
And I don't want to, we're jumping ahead, but maybe, I was just thinking maybe Citizen Road could be another one that could be taken a look at, just because I think that you'll have a little bit more residents impacted on Bank Street. That's not a good solution, but there's a little bit more
Right, we
residents
also
on the
need
other
to look,
section. There's no
yeah.
really no
sorry.
residents around, I'm sorry.
We also need to look at the Sisson Road site. There will be some extra parking there, but with that being almost completely filled at this point with cultural center
right.
activity and
Right.
uses,
It may not be.
we may need to do, it's kind of late in the year, but some kind of account, and we probably can get Erica to assist with that over at the cultural center.
Right.
But when I mean, there are times where that place is packed.
No, I wonder
Yeah.
if the, because the elementary school wouldn't be open, would that be?
Right.
you know,
We'd have to talk to the school,
yeah,
Monomoy,
some
about
other
that.
option maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know other
And-
communities have allowed that to take place, but that would be a conversation that would need to be had with Monomoy.
Right.
But that's something that we can broach with them.
And is the cultural center as busy in July and August as it is in November, December, January, February? You know, it's like there are certain places in town that are much busier or much slower
Off-season, yeah.
off-season, depending on what their busy time is.
Mhm.
You know, maybe Erica has some input on that.
Yeah, yep.
You know,
That Bank Street Beach is going to be a problem. The beach closes at 5 PM in the evening, and there's many folks who take advantage of going down to the beach even after it's closed. Been down there myself with the family. My question would be to us as a group, we keep talking about shuttles. Has anybody discussed with Cape Destinations?
that's what I talked with.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I saw them during the holiday stroll.
Did you?
And, yep,
Oh,
and
good.
they were very
They're interested.
interested, so yeah.
Right.
But there's also a cost associated with that, and who's gonna pay for it?
The business owners would have to pay for it.
You know,
so.
Yeah.
now, the other thought I had, and I had this discussion with Cindy way back when this first came up last summer, is the vacant lot, and I know there was some discussion with the owner of the lot between Heather's and where the blue truck, where the food truck was.
Yep, Chris Clark and I
Um,
met with him.
And how, did that not go anywhere? Is it too many?
We explained what the process was going to have to be to establish that as a parking lot, and it did not go forward.
as a parking lot from a town perspective, or
No, just a private parking lot.
too many hurdles, is that what you mean?
It needs site plan, whether it's through the waiver process or through full site plan review, but it needs to be, something needs to be
Engineered.
drawn up.
And, right.
Yeah, we need to see, because,
Nothing simple.
Now, CVS parking lot, that's where
That's the
many
one.
people go into, right?
Well, unfortunately, this summer, they actually put up no parking
Yes,
unless,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
although that sign's not there now.
Um,
I mean, it's off-season,
You don't
but,
need
Certain-
it.
And that's famous
Take my
for
word for it, there's nobody
campgrounds
down there.
parking as well.
yeah.
CVS is, or it has been, you know, you could overflow parking, send
Yeah.
them
Now,
down to-
Shaw's has got a very good-sized lot down there. They don't always fill that lot. Do you think they would be?
I can talk to their manager. They're members of ours, so I can reach out to him.
Yeah,
and see if they would
Just getting
be.
a shuttle maybe going to the Shaw's lot. Because I know in the evening hours, there's a good portion of that parking.
Right, that's
lot
empty.
Occupied.
Mhm.
So it sounds like we've got at least a few things on our agenda.
Yep. And one more thing is, Cindy and I meet a lot, because we're, moving forward with, cultural center, cultural district
Districts.
designations for both Harwich Port and Harwich Center. And, this last summer, when I would go down there, even at 9:30 in the morning or even 2:30 in the afternoon, especially 2:30, it was difficult getting parking spaces. But there were more people parking there and walking to the beach.
Right.
I mean, it was amazing how many vehicles were there for beach parking.
Right.
This is where they're being told to go.
Well, I don't know
Because they
who's
wanna
telling
go
them
to-
to go there,
They
but,
wanna
Yeah,
go to Main
and
Street
Yeah.
Beach,
ju-
and
just
Main
to go
Street's
on-
full at 9 o'clock.
On
Yeah.
record, as I did during the summer when we were having some of these discussions, the volunteers in the chamber this past year were told, don't publicize and promote that they can park in that lot. Let them know, because we sell beach stickers also. So I would then go into the whole sales pitch of buying the sticker. So it's not coming, I think a lot of them were used to it, but we're not encouraging it, for sure.
Well, when people who reoccur coming down here each summer, they know.
They know, exactly.
If you got two cars, you'll load the number one car up, you can bring everything down to the beach, set up your beach chairs and everything else, and leave the car there, and then everybody goes back in the second car. Then they go back to the beach at 9:30 in the morning. And that car is going to be there the entire day.
I'm not sure how you can
Well, and you
eliminate
and I
beach
had
parking in a municipal lot unless we come up with new regulations.
put
The
a
way it
time
is,
limit on the parking.
Then you have to have a parking, so that's another thing, but then you need a parking enforcement officer. There has been talk over the years, since I've been on rec, about metering that lot. Or having a kiosk like they do at the Ocean Street Docks, for example. And then you have it validated, if they're having dinner or whatever.
Well, that's what Plymouth has done.
Yes,
When-
that's the
when-
same
When you
thing.
go in the big lots down in Plymouth to the restaurants, they have that system whereby the restaurants will validate your parking, but then they have the kiosk, as John indicates, because that's all you need is the kiosk. People go in, they get the ticket, come back out, they pay their fee, and it moves along pretty rapidly, and you don't have to have an actual human being running around and paying that salary. But
I
that's,
think it should be a little, just my personal opinion, a couple of things. One is on the parking, I think that people are gonna go to the beach. If there's no, that's why they come here, they come for the water. And if the parking lot's full, it's like, well, I gotta go somewhere, because I came down for this week, I'm spending thousands of dollars on a rental. Now they're gonna be spending even more money because of the taxes that just were increased for short-term rentals. And then if we go adding more fees and so forth at municipal lots and everything, it's gonna be like, oh, I'm tapping out. I'm going somewhere else, so I think if we can, balance out working with parking solutions, shuttles and everything else, and still be friendly and welcoming and
Well-
not, to me, when I see parking meters everywhere, I'm like,
It's not warm and fuzzy, and we're an inviting town, but we
Right.
need to also remember, we also spent a lot of money recently, over the last 5 years, on branding the town as the warm side of the Cape. That's not warm and fuzzy, a meter. So again, if we come up with other ideas
That's just
for
my
it.
opinion.
Exactly, I
just-
agree with you,
Yeah, and then with
definitely.
the tax, I think that's gonna be impactful to a lot of renters, a lot of people that are not gonna go to the restaurants as much as they did. They're gonna say, hey, I'm not gonna go out to dinner 3 times this week, I'm gonna go out maybe once because of this extra tax, which is can be 14 to 17% depending upon what the towns
Yeah.
do, which is significant.
And I do know some of those, you know, the kiosk parking, like you talked about, it's only during the daytime hours. It's not, you know, once you hit 5 o'clock, it's open. One of the other deterrents, we ride motorcycle, you can't park in a paid parking lot because you don't have a windshield to put your ticket on. So it's like, well, where do we park?
Yeah, right.
The other thing, maybe we should do a better job, Chamber, Rec, Town, there are other beaches other than Red River and Bank Street. You
Absolutely.
wouldn't know it. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Pleasant Fills, Earl Road,
That's a gem.
rarely fills, bathroom. So that's maybe something when we give stickers out, that we list.
I actually give, because I personally do the stickers. So I give out the map and point out all the beaches, and will actually encourage people for other ones other than Bank Street, because I know that it fills
Yeah,
up.
Bank is,
You know, so those things we did, you know, start this year
Okay.
heavily promoting the other. I mean, we have 21. People are like, you do? Yeah, look at them on the map. So it's
a
again.
lot of them don't have parking though, so we have to be
Right.
careful.
Well, but this map that Rec has and that we have
Yeah.
shows who has how many parking. And our volunteers are trained to point out, here are your hot beaches, this is what you want, are you looking for kid-friendly, just couple, you know, whatever. They'll go through everything and show them where the spots are and tell them, okay, you want to go down at 9 o'clock, get your park, you know, so they do know. So that definitely, that's happening for sure.
You think it's possible to put any sort of signage out? You would mention signage when we were talking in the hall.
I love signs.
I know it. Portable signs, something that can be removed without, you know, not a permanent
Well,
sign.
municipal signs are exempt from the sign code.
Yeah. I was thinking, Earl Road Beach was mentioned. I happen to personally go on to Earl Road Beach because it's a hidden gem, actually.
Sorry,
It's
guys.
got a good,
Not
got a-
anymore.
Anymore.
it's got a great
It's a new
parking
Bank
lot.
Street.
and it's
It's not anymore.
It's one of the places you can go that find a parking spot, you know. 'Cause Pleasant Road Beach, forget it.
I haven't been to
Used
the
to
beach
rent
in
up
10
there.
years. Because I can't deal with
Can't
it.
imagine how many people I know who are in this community and say exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I haven't been to the beach in years, because I just can't deal with the crowds and the parking.
I understand.
I'm healthier for it, I think, you know, but.
Signage for what else? Say
I was
lot
thinking
full
something
or-
is, well, Earl Road Beach being one that might be, take some of the flow off of the Bank Street Beach and maybe from Red River. If there was people who are unfamiliar with this community, as we all know, you can get lost in the Cape, except for the fact if you find the ocean either side, you're all set. But consequently, if there was something to direct them down towards Earl Road Beach, some sort of a subtle sign, whether it be in a bucket with concrete, and just for that period of few months we have, is just to direct people that way to use those facilities.
I have what may be a dumb question, and perhaps John can answer this because you're on rec. When a beach is full, is there a sign before you get down to the beach that says it's full?
No.
No, not until you get to the beach.
Is that
That's the-
something that we may want to think about? I mean, I'm not a proponent of lots of signage,
No.
but,
Red
No.
River isn't an issue because there's an in and an out.
right.
Bank Street, for example, that would be a good one.
We could
Yeah.
put that, depending on what happens tonight, maybe we do some kind of an A-frame at the
Yeah, but-
beginning of Bank Street.
Municipal signage is exempt.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said that. Municipal signage is exempt.
So we put something like that on the corner of Bank Street.
Yeah,
Right
I
by
mean,
Oak and
if-
Sotheby's.
Bank Street is safe
You know.
because Bank Street's full at 10 o'clock. It's full till the end of the day.
Right, but,
Red River's a different, that
Yeah.
rotates.
Yep,
Something has to be done off topic a little bit at Red River as well, because there were days last year, there were 30 or 40 cars in the actual parking lot, trying to wait for somebody to back out. Not on Uncle Vanny's, not on Julian or Old Wharf.
yep,
We're talking about that where the gate guards have to, okay, we're not letting anybody else in.
yep.
And same thing, so Red River isn't the issue. Bank Street, that might eliminate some of the traffic going down there and,
And I know in Dennis, in Mayflower,
yep.
they have signage right down, just coming off of 6A.
Mhm.
And they tell everybody it's closed. Again, the neighbors went crazy up there because of all the cars, as you just described, lined up through those neighborhoods. And at least you knew that you weren't going to make it.
Yeah, they did that right as
Yeah.
you turn off
6A.
6A,
Yeah.
to head up that way, yeah.
Some of the we could do the electric signs, the police signs.
Who wants it in there? I'm just saying.
No, I know. I'm
who-
just trying
I
to think
mean,
where else we can grab it.
But it's just something else to put on the list of,
Mhm. Okay. Sounds like you got a good agenda for next week, or next meeting. Do you want to go to a next meeting date?
Sure.
What are people thinking? What works for them?
If you guys wouldn't mind, I know Charlene and I are here almost every night during the week. Could we do a daytime? Is daytime all right for you?
I'm fine with this.
I'm
This
fine.
time
All right,
is
Yeah.
that's
fine
great.
with me.
I mean, love the building and all, but I'd rather not be here every night during the week at 6:30.
Well, blame it on.
Yeah.
Right. That's it, and it's 12.
exactly. We can come here and go to 12.
That's it, still be going on.
Probably do another one this month.
Yep.
And
And I'm out the week of Martin Luther King Day week. That's week of the 21st. I had a death in the family, so
Sorry to hear that.
thanks.
Why don't we do, can we do the following week, that last week in January?
29th? Is
Okay.
Tuesday a good day for everybody?
10:30?
That-
Works for me.
That works.
Yep.
Okay. What's the date?
129
Your schedule.
at 10:30?
Yes, please.
And I'll be happy to work with you the week before, so
Okay.
next week, on finalizing an agenda.
Okay,
How's that sound, Al?
sure,
Okay.
sounds good.
Are we gonna let the public speak, or is it a point of order?
How long is it?
So let's get
It's
started.
shaking, it's been up so long.
Come forward and identify yourself, please.
Thank you all, and thank the familiar faces that are already on committees, and thank Charlene for adding another duty. I'm Michael McCaskill, I'm the Selectmen's Liaison. I believe I'll confirm that Monday night. Al, Charlene can get you my email address if you could
Yep.
CC him. Public information, public flow, public involvement, how do you want that to get to you? Should they ask to be on the agenda? I know there's one gentleman in here tonight, Bob Cohn, who sent a lot of information to the Board of Selectmen originally when this topic came up, and he has some stuff he would like to share with you and possibly get on the agenda to speak. So I don't know how your public comment's gonna work, but if we could go through that at least so Bob knows for the next meeting or
Okay.
meeting afterwards.
I think it's gonna have to be discussed by this board as to how we wanna handle the public comment
Okay.
and how much is going to be generated
Mhm.
as far as paperwork goes
Mhm.
in order to get this agenda
Yep.
together.
I mean, if I might, if there is information that I know not all of you have received, because this is a new committee, if there is information that people want to get disseminated to you all, they should be sending it to me,
Okay.
and
Okay.
as staff person, so I can disseminate that out, and the
Alright.
chair can decide,
Okay.
you know, on an agenda for future discussion items. How does that sound?
Sure. The other thing is, like having folks from the public coming in, which is absolutely paramount. Having a specific time, because that's kind of difficult. And since we all are rather fluid, meaning I know John's got, Michael has his business too, and you've got plenty of things to do. We may have to try to do our meeting in advance. If we could just, May 15th is the date that we have to have this
Right.
done. That's the D-Day.
Mhm.
If at the next meeting, we come up with the remaining meeting dates,
Mhm.
that way there, everybody knows what page we are on. If there has to be a change,
Yep.
it'll happen, but at least when we have the public come in, they know in advance what our dates are, and we know.
And they can also be on the town website too, the dates
Yeah.
of the
Oh, yeah, that's-
meetings.
that's-
So
that's
then,
easy enough to
then all
do.
the public, which
Yeah.
they're used to looking at all the other meetings that happen, that they're,
Mhm.
you know, able to come to, they
Yep.
certainly can find those dates as well, and we
Yeah.
can,
If you wanted, you could also do, similar to what the selectmen do on their agenda, you know, is there public information that people want to let anybody know about?
Okay.
I think you want to set guidelines, you don't want, you know, you don't want people to go on, but if there's something somebody would like to discuss, they can bring it up then, and then it can be put on a future meeting date. Because the board can't discuss anything that's not on the agenda.
Right, okay.
So lastly, I'm the go-between from the selectmen to your committee. I won't participate in your meetings, but I'll be here, as
Yeah,
many as I
I
can be
did.
here.
Invite him as, that's,
And if you need anything, Al, you reach out to me, and I'll be the go-between back to the full
All
board.
right, thank you.
Do we want to, just thinking for next month, so it's the end of the month meeting, do we want to come up with a prior, like I said earlier, before we get public comment, do we want to figure out what we're gonna do? We just threw out a whole
Right.
bunch of ideas.
right,
Maybe at our next meeting, for us to come up with, public will know what we're thinking,
Right.
and then at the first meeting in February, then come in and let them maybe discuss or make comments on what we decide,
Right.
how we're gonna move forward.
I mean, in this first meeting alone, we've already come up with some alternative. You've obviously done it, and you've obviously done it. So consequently, if we could have that and use that as our guide,
Sure.
because there's not a lot of options just coming, you know, and
If, it might also be helpful to have the police chief or a representative come in to say what they're seeing as issues.
okay,
Because they're gonna know, because they actually help, especially on the Wednesday nights. They'll
Yeah.
put up the signage, they'll put up no parking, so I think having whoever the rep from
whoever
them.
the chief designates.
Yeah.
Right,
It'll probably be the traffic officer, who I think is Aram.
yes.
Or the sergeant.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry, I know people by their first names. I don't even know what their ranks are.
I
Sorry.
don't know. The thing I have.
Yeah.
Central Mass Kid.
Gosh, Gary.
What I'll also do is get in touch before the next meeting with Cape Destinations, meet with them, what they're thinking that the cost would be involved in this. So then the next step would then be reaching out to the businesses and saying, okay, this is what we're thinking of the plan to be, this is what the fee that may be involved, just to get everyone thinking about it, because then when we do open it up to the public comments, they need to buy into that too, you know, for that piece to work, which I think we should be able to work something out.
I just gotta throw this question out, and I suspect either one of you are gonna have an answer. With regard to going back to the cultural center, there's a lawn up there in front of the elementary school. It's a pretty good-sized lawn.
A lawn area.
The lawn area.
Yep.
Could the lawn area, assuming that the school department is willing to go
Well,
along with?
the lawn area actually, I think, is under the jurisdiction of the town. I know that they're trying to put a labyrinth
They are,
there.
and that was agreed upon, I
Yeah.
believe, that will happen in the spring.
And also, I personally would
Yeah.
hate to see that beautiful lawn area be paved, put up a parking lot.
No,
Or-
I'm not suggesting at all paving.
Okay,
I'm suggesting that
Using-
using the lawn area to park cars.
yeah, until we know where the labyrinth is thinking
The
of
other
going.
thing too, especially at night, granted, we can't do this during the daytime, so this isn't gonna help us during the day, but this parking lot here on a Wednesday night, shuttle-wise,
Oh, this is empty.
you know, we can use. So this is an option for the Wednesday nights, the nighttime. The daytime, I still think we'd be all right with doing the Harbor Master Workshop. Just gotta find out for sure.
Can Charlene check, maybe do a visit over there and find out realistically, when the boats aren't there, and I'm
100 spots,
you're a step
At
ahead.
Bank Street?
yes,
At the old Harbor Masters?
yes. Only reason I know that is from this wedding this summer, I found out.
Yeah, but were they parked stacked or were they parked?
They were stacked, they did a nice, like, whoever got the cars in there, they,
Okay, but then they had people parking people. We won't have that, so we
Right.
probably won't have 100 in reality.
mhm, yep.
You know, I think if
but
it's a,
think, so
yeah.
on that, all right, so let's
But
go
I
with
can-
70.
What
you
I
know?
can do is I can look at the various sites with Cindy's help and figure out how many parking spaces
Yep.
are available. I mean, if we had a parking person there, but that's somebody else we'd need to pay to, a wedding is one thing because
Right.
you're gonna pick them up and you're gonna drop them off all at the same time and, that kind of thing. So, But we can go and figure out how many parking spaces are available. The one caution I have with parking on lawns, if it's been wet, you can really destroy a lawn.
True,
Yeah.
true.
But there's also some parking on the side of that
There's some-
building.
By the Little League field.
Yeah.
Ball field.
Just one more question. Since we don't have a budget, the chamber, I suspect, is going to be helpful towards us in some of these things. And the only reason I bring that up, we just mentioned parking.
Yep,
And if you're down the Harbor Masters lot down there,
yep.
you're going to have somebody who's going to direct. They're not going to do it for nothing. I don't know how the police chief is going to feel about being asked, and I can almost guess what the answer's going to be,
A detail.
the detail down there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a lot of money.
I know that.
I have to pay, the chamber, not me personally, the chamber has to pay during the summer, during the Wednesday nights, for police detail. So, you know, I mean, we're also nonprofit, so.
Well, that's why I
I-
kind of threw it out there.
Yeah, so I don't have this little bank account that I can then pay for, you know, the shuttles.
Sure.
But certainly reaching out to the members that are in Harwich Port that would be using this service. I think maybe after the conversations had with Cape Destinations, coming up with a fee for the summer or something. We'd have to figure that out.
Do either one of you know whether the merchants would be willing to provide financing to assist us on this, in as much as we're hoping to make sure that their businesses are not dramatically affected negatively as a result of this?
So what we can do, again, and that falls under the chamber, because I would say 95% of the merchants in Harwich Port are members of the chamber. Letting them know that, and again, we're doing this meeting tonight with the planning board, with the chamber members for the freestanding signs. So they're definitely wanting to be a part of the decisions that are going to affect positively or negatively their businesses. So I think certainly, again, opening up one of these meetings to having them come in, or again, at any of our business after hours, or I can do a special meeting with the members and bringing out, these are the things that are going on for the 2019 season, we're kicking off with boom, 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 different things, bringing them in, say, next month or something. We can do that kind of stuff.
Sooner than
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
We gotta find out what the cost is.
Right, so I think
We
that,
gotta find out where the most viable
Right.
places are, that maybe, like Bank Street maybe needs a detail.
right,
Where maybe if we could contact this, superintendent, Scott Carpenter, about using the elementary school in the summertime.
Right.
And, maybe that's a better facility where there's no need for
Right.
detail, for
Yep.
example. That may reduce the cost, and then you just have, I think that's, number one, what's the cost,
Right.
approximately, what,
exactly.
what Peggy and,
Okay,
Jay would
Yep,
charge
Exactly.
approximately.
Right.
And then what would be the best solution that we can figure out. Then I think the buy-in with USAID would be pretty good, I would think, because it's certainly to their advantage.
right,
If their employees are taking up parking and you're driving around with your family, you're gonna spend 200 plus for dinner.
Right.
Just went to Chatham.
Yeah, you just said, I'm
Yep.
gonna go to Dennis or Chatham or somewhere else because I got no place to park.
Right.
Because their employees parking in that spot. So it's gonna cost them $5 or $4 or $3 or whatever it is for the day or whatever. That's a no-brainer.
I think the other important thing to try to come up with is how many days in the summer? We know every Wednesday, so you get 8
Right.
Wednesdays that's like going to Fenway.
Yep.
There's not much you're gonna try to eliminate or alleviate that as best you can. How many of the other days and or nights is that full? And I know somebody, I believe,
Friday and
wanna-
Saturdays, I would definitely say that it's full. Even a Sunday during the summer, July and August, those are your big, heavy-hitting restaurant nights.
Okay.
Um,
So what I'm getting at is, are you looking at a shuttle
Yep.
7 days a week? Are you looking at a shuttle on Wednesday through Sunday? I think that's, we need to figure.
Yeah.
You don't want a shuttle going around
Right,
like some of the school buses in
Yeah.
town
right,
with 2 kids on them.
Yep.
You know, that's not cost
Yeah.
effective. And if you could provide those numbers.
Yeah.
I thought one of the residents had done a study on that as well, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
That was you? I'm sorry. I apologize. I just happened to watch the meeting.
now would you like to have something to say?
Yeah, I actually have a presentation that I put together that goes over, I'm from Pleasant Street.
That's not on the agenda.
That's
So
right.
maybe the
I-
next
I
meeting.
stand corrected, be our next meeting,
Yeah,
because.
yeah, for sure.
All right,
But so I have a presentation that
all right.
is a draft that goes over some of our issues in Pleasant Street, goes over that little study I did, and has some suggestions about shared parking.
If you could send that to me again,
I will.
and then I will disseminate that. Thank you.
Thanks for doing that.
I think after we see that, because I saw it early on in the summer as well, we can see it before the next meeting, kind of come up and say, Al, some ideas of what we pulled from that too, so we can have some really good conversations about it.
Because, I mean, there are some, like Cape Cod 5.
Well, at night,
They
the-
have way more parking than they use.
Right.
Or need. Whether they would be willing to do a partnership with the town, similar to what TD Bank did, you know, with that smaller parking area that the town improved and did the gate there. You know, but that also cost some money. That was $35,000 just to create that small parking area. And we have a $1 license agreement with them for I don't know how many years. But there are some, you know, even the rest of what they have for parking is never full. I'm guilty. I've parked there on a Wednesday night.
Well, the Wednesday nights, those two banks,
Yeah.
they
They
let-
participate.
Well, they
Yeah.
let everybody do it because,
Yeah.
yeah, they're, I mean, Cape Cod 5 is one of our
Yeah.
big sponsors.
I'm sure they don't want beach parking there.
No.
But if there's people
And
who
when they're closed,
are
Right.
looking to,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, go to the local restaurants and the businesses,
Yeah.
you know, but,
With the exception of Wednesday night,
Yep.
if there was if we'll just use Bank Street, we'll use the Harbor Master as an example.
Sure.
If the employees from the various restaurants and businesses were parking at Bank Street, would that, are we 100 short on a Saturday and Sunday night, meaning spots? Or are we I mean, is there any guess at all?
I'm still going with, because I know the employees, I mean, I watch it, and,
And I watch them walk down, they walk
right.
down 20.
I'm gonna
28,
say,
you know, they're
easy-
going to
the
work.
max on the employees that are parking there would be 40 people, 40 cars.
So if those 40 spots were
Our
open,
banks-
would that alleviate the problem, with the
Heck,
exception
yes.
of Wednesday?
Heck, yes.
Before we
Only
reinvent the
because, I
exception on
mean,
Wednesday.
and then you and I have talked about this, I'm in every morning at 7 AM and leave at 10 PM, so I watch on a regular basis.
she needs a life.
And she
So-
just got on another committee.
But those are the things that, you know, as this all evolved and became so popular, we were watching that. Because as we talked about earlier, you know, the dreaded word for me is meter. I think we're warm and fuzzy, and if we come up with the better solution of putting these 40 cars somewhere else, then everybody's happy. And I think what we've talked about so far are some great solutions that I think are gonna make everyone happy.
But I think that's important,
Yep.
that should be
there's
no sense in reinventing
Yeah.
the wheel if it's only
Yep.
40 or 50
No.
spots we're looking for.
Yep. Yeah, I would guarantee that's what it is.
And the other thing, I mean, do you get an idea of what the merchants, would they rather have something, say, if they had to have a shuttle lot? Bank Street a preference, middle school a preference, if they had to be shuttled, would it matter?
We haven't asked that yet, and I think now that we've done this first meeting, those are gonna be like, you know, little survey that, you know, or the email that I send out to the members now as we move forward with this. Okay, these are the options. Which one would which one would you like? And then, all right, we've given them Bank, Harbor Master, or elementary school. They've picked.
Yeah, and the Bank Harbor Master is exactly a mile from there to the Bank Street Beach.
The nice thing about that is if you miss the shuttle, it's not a bad walk.
It's
No.
not, and there is a sidewalk the whole
Because
way.
we actually looked at it when we
Somewhere on
were,
the sidewalk.
what the distance was from the municipal parking lot or the harbor master. And it was within, because we needed it for something.
Town hall, the parking lot at the Chamber is half a mile.
Yep.
And the Bank Street Old Harbor Master is 1 mile.
So, you know, we know what it is, and people would, you know, they walk it with all their stuff, you know, and I have to say, it did this year with not, you know, with really jumping on, the not promoting it as the beach parking lot. And, you know, because, you know, it used to be promoted, that you could park there. But as we've grown, it was like, nope, screech, new idea. So, just, we're going in the right direction.
And technically, anything out of that, it's either 300 or
It's 300,
350,
yep.
is not, according to the zoning bylaws, not allowed to be using a municipal lot if it's outside that area. And there are a number of
Businesses that fall
businesses
outside of that.
that fall way outside of that 300 feet that are using the municipal lot.
So
Not to say
that's-
that, oh, you can't park there, but, you know, it's like when you went through site plan, you said you had enough parking for your establishment, and now you don't. So why is it, why did that happen? So I think it's incumbent upon some businesses to try and figure out, okay, where can I park? You know, do shared rides, you know, carpooling. You know, instead of having one employee, you know, 5 employees showing up in 5 cars, is there a way to have 2 cars and park someplace else? So,
What the folks for the restaurant on the corner of Bank Street, where do they park? I know where they send their customers to park.
They park in the municipal parking lot.
Cross street,
Yeah.
my driveway.
Well, I know as seems to be a policy down there, I was in there one evening and they were directing customers who couldn't find a place to park to go to the municipal lot. Because as you're well aware,
Right.
there's a problem between them and the
Yes.
ice cream place.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's actually gonna be blocked off.
So, yeah, there's
Yep.
a new entrance for the ice cream now. Or that will be for this season. So I think, you know, and though, some personal conversations are gonna be had too. I mean, I wanted to first come here, have us all discuss some things before I reached out to some of the people that I know I can have help us with this and have those conversations.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, do we have? Well, step
Motion
over
to adjourn?
Oh, you're the chairman.
2 chairs,
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
so moved.
Wait a second.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's 11:22.
All those opposed, stay.
Thank you, appreciate it.